Dynatrace integration. So before starting the training, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Chandra, and I'll be your trainer for this entire training session. So I have 14 plus years of experience in performance engineering, experience on different tools like JMeter, NeoLoad, LoadRunner, performance monitoring tools like Dynatrace, AppDynamics, Datadog, and different protocols, web HTTP, HTML, web services, Citrix, Ajax True Client, etc. So we'll quickly get started, with the course curriculum, the topics which we are going to cover in this particular session. So let me share my screen and please let me know once it is visible to you. So hope my screen is visible to all of you. So we are going to see the course curriculum which we are going to cover as part of this training, and few ground rules before we start. Whenever if you have any queries, please unmute yourself and ask the query, and if you're not speaking, kindly be on mute. The videos will be recorded, or each and every session will be recorded. You will all be having the lifetime access to the videos, and the materials will be shared with you all. Okay, I think there is a query. Okay, so you'll have lifetime access to the all the videos as part of this training, and we are going to cover different topics as part of this training, and the different materials will be also shared, as well as the interview questions will be covered for each of the topic whenever we are going to cover them. Clear all of you? So now we are going to see the topics which we are going to cover as part of this training. So many of you would already have experience on performance testing, but on different tools, but some would also be beginners to performance testing. That is why the course name is named as JMeter Beginner to Master with Groovy scripting as well as Dynatrace integration. So whoever is a beginner in JMeter, means whoever doesn't know JMeter, by attending this training, they will first become a beginner in JMeter, and by the end of this training, they will become a master in JMeter. Along with that, we are going to cover the advanced topics, that is Groovy scripting, which many people in the industry are not aware of that, as well as we are going to see the Dynatrace integration with JMeter and how can we monitor the applications with Dynatrace, the application performance monitoring with Dynatrace. Those also things also we are going to cover. So let us first of all go through the topics. Now I would like to provide the introduction to performance testing first before going deep into JMeter, so that you all can refresh the knowledge about the performance testing, and then we can go into the JMeter. So first we are going to see the performance testing and JMeter introduction. Now performance testing introduction, we are going to see like what is performance testing, why performance testing is required, what are the different types of performance testing. Then we are going to cover the performance testing life cycle. In that we are going to see what are the different phases in performance testing, what are the different activities which are carried out in the different phases, what is the entry criteria, what is the exit criteria for the different phases, and what are the common challenges which you will face in each of the phase. Then we'll go into the history of JMeter. What are the different protocols supported by JMeter? Now what is a protocol? It is a rule, or it is a method by which the client and the server interact with each other, right? It is a set of rules using which the client interacts with the server the server interacts with the client. Now, what are all the different protocols supported by JMeter? What are the different features of JMeter? We'll get and prerequisites for JMeter installation. And JMeter is a Java program. That is why it needs Java for its execution, or for running JMeter you need Java. So we'll see the Java installation and how to set up the environment variables for Java for JMeter to work correctly. Then we'll see how to download JMeter, how to install JMeter, and then how to launch JMeter on Windows. So JMeter can be launched in different platforms. So we are going to see how to launch JMeter on Windows. Then we'll go deep into the browser developer tool. Now, before we start JMeter, we need to understand when the client interacts with the server, what all events take place, what all things happen, so that you get an understanding of that, right? And then how we are going to implement that with JMeter. So for that, you need to know what is a HTTP request, what is an HTML request, what are the embedded resources, what is a transaction or a user action, what are cookies, what is cache, what is a user session. So we will discuss about these items, and then we are going to see the details about the HTTP HTTPS protocol. So what is a request, right? So what are the different elements of HTTP protocol we are going to see. Then what is a request, what is a response, what is a header, what are the different types of request methods again, okay, which can go from the client to the server. So the request will go from the client to the server, right? So normally what happens, you will have your client, you will have your server, right? And this will be your request. So this is the basic architecture, guys, okay? And then you will have the response back from the server, right? So in this client server architecture, we are going to see what is a request, then what makes up a request. So what are the different elements of a request? Similarly, what is a response and what are the different elements of a response? What is a header? What are the different types of request methods which can go from the client to the server, right? We saw this, from the client to the server, the request will go. So what are the different types of requests which can go from the client to the server? Then what is the different status codes? So the server will send back the response to the client. So what are the different response codes which will come from the server to the client? So this will be the introduction to performance testing and JMeter introduction. Any query? Thank you. So then we'll go to the, now that we have the introduction to JMeter, we will then go to JMeter scripting. I think there is a query. You can unmute yourself and ask.
Hi, this is Shrikant. As part of this JMeter, the fundamentals of performance testing can be explained clearly or lengthily, or only the basics of the things you people explain.
No, I'll be explaining the introduction to performance testing in details and also the performance testing life cycle. So we'll cover this in two, 3 to 4 sessions, the performance testing introduction, as well as you can the link is shared regarding the performance testing introduction in one of the group. So you can also go through that particular link.
Okay, thank you.
But yes, the performance testing will be covered in details here. You will get to know what we do in performance testing, what are the different activities we do in performance testing, and how are we going to implement performance testing. Any other queries?
Yeah, hi, this is Firoz. Apart from that,
Yeah,
can we explain real-time projects also?
real-time projects.
Can you explain real-time application after that
Yes, yes.
completing
So
of fundamentals?
I have not gone through the entire training plan. So this is just the introduction. So we have more sections in it. We'll go through that.
Okay.
So just I'm asking like if there is any query in this particular section.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Any other queries in the performance testing and JMeter introduction? Okay. So then we'll go to the test script development with JMeter. So how are we going to develop test scripts with JMeter? So for that, we have to know what are the different components in JMeter, right? So JMeter has 12 major elements or 12 major components, which we are going to check what is the significance of those components and how to use those components. Okay. Then we have one element, that is proxy server and JMeter setup to record the test scripts. We have to do the proxy server setup and some setup in JMeter to record the test scripts. Now why it is required, right? So we are going to cover those fundamental things as well, because in interviews you will get the question why the proxy server setup is required, and most of the candidates are not able to answer that. I have taken myself have taken so many interviews and I have seen candidates are not able to answer that. And then we will see how to record the different test scripts from different browsers along with the demo. Okay, so how are we going to record the different scenarios in JMeter from different browsers? Then how to filter the irrelevant requests and the embedded resources while recording the test scripts. Then comes another important component of JMeter, that is its certificate. So how to install the JMeter certificate in different browsers. Now why that certificate installation is required in different browsers. So those all things also we are going to see. Then we'll see a sample how to record a test script and also how to regenerate a certificate. Now why regeneration of certificate is required, that also we are going to see. Then comes one of the major element, that is the HTTPS test script recorder element, which is used for test script recording. So what are the different attributes of HTTPS test script recorder? What is the significance of the test script recorder? What are the best practices which you need to follow in the test script recorder? We are going to see that. Then the JMeter's recording best practices. So when you will record a script with JMeter, what are the best practices which you need to follow, that we are going to see. Now JMeter is a tool, so it will have different files, it will have different directories. So we are going to see the walkthrough of the different directories of JMeter and the different files in JMeter. Then comes in the different files, out of those different files present inside JMeter, we have different types of properties file. Okay, in JMeter, like jmeter.properties, user.properties, system.properties. So what is the significance of all those properties file while using JMeter? We are going to see that. Then comes one of the important element or feature, I would say, which can be added to JMeter, that is the JMeter plugin manager. Now plugin means you just plug in and play, right? Similarly, plugin manager, what is the significance of plugin manager? What are the things you can do with the plugin manager? Why do you need plugin manager in the first place itself when you already have the tool, that we are going to see. then how to install the plugins, how to uninstall the plugins, that we are going to see. So by now, we'll be able to know what are the different elements present in a JMeter, how to do the setup in JMeter, how to do the test script recording in JMeter, and about the plugin manager. Any queries? Anyone?
Hey, I
No,
have a
Chandra.
question, Chandra.
Yeah.
Hello, Chandra. I have a question.
Yeah.
So, are we only do record and play, or do we script actually?
Well, script actually. So I have not gone through the entire training plan, guys. So it is a big
Okay.
training plan. We'll go through that. So I'm asking till
Okay.
point 16. Any queries?
Okay. Okay. So yeah, as you said, like a record and play. So I have a question. So we only deal with record and play, or we also get trained on
We'll
scripting
be
part as
developing test scripts. We'll be developing test
well?
scripts
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
to answer your question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any queries? Anyone else? Okay. Then now you will know how to record a script, right? How to record a script. But which scripts you are going to record? Which scenarios you are going to record? That is also important, right? When you will work in a project, which scenarios you are going to record, how will you know which scenarios to record, how will you identify which scenarios are required for performance testing, that concept will be covered. Then we will see the documentation for performance testing of a web application. Okay, we are going to see what all documentation are required in order to do the performance testing of a web application, and we are going to see a product booking scenario. Then we are going to do the end-to-end script recording. Okay, we are going to do this scenario recording for the end-to-end flow. Then we are going to generate the test script, and once the test script is generated, or once the script is recorded and it is generated, is it ready to use? We are going to answer those questions. Definitely, if only test script recording would be the job, then performance testing would be a cakewalk, right? That is why, yes, sorry, tell me.
ఇంకా టైం ఉన్నది తినాలా
Can you please go on mute if you are not asking any relevant question to the training? So if the test script which is recorded, if that would be ready for use, then performance testing would be a cakewalk, but that is not. So we are going to see what all enhancements you need to. A sincere request everyone, if you do not have any questions, kindly go on mute so that we do not disturb the entire training session. We have serious candidates joining in, so request you all to please be muted if you do not have any questions. Thank you. So we are going to see how to enhance the different scripts which we have developed or which we have recorded, right? So that brings us to the best practices which we need to follow for doing the test script development. Okay, so to enhance your test scripts, what all best practices you need to follow, we are going to check that. Then we are going to see the correlation concepts. What is correlation? Why it is required? We are going to check that, and we are going to see that in details. Okay, what is the concept of correlation? Why it is required? I'm going to explain in detail so that your fundamentals are cleared. Because correlation and parameterization, they are must questions in the interviews. So correlation concept and parameterization concepts are going to be covered, and we are going to understand them. Why correlation is required, why parameterization is required, we are going to understand that. Then we have the regular expression in JMeter. So what is a regular expression? We are going to understand that, how that is implemented in JMeter, why the regular expression is required, and what are the different attributes of a regular expression, and how to implement regular expression in JMeter. That brings us to regular expression extractor, that is a component in JMeter. So what are the different attributes of regular expression extractor? We are going to check. Then we are going to see the real-time use cases. Okay, we'll see what are the different real-time examples of extracting the dynamic values. So regular expression extractor, correlation, all these are related to dynamic value extraction. Now why we need to extract, what is the necessity, we are going to cover in details in the session. Here all of you. So we are going to see real life examples where you will need to extract the dynamic values. The next one is, we are going to see the CSV dataset config component. Okay. So what is the CSV dataset config? It is related to the parameterization, like regular expression extractor is related to correlation. Similarly, CSV dataset config is related to parameterization. Clear? So we are going to see the CSV dataset config and how to set up the test data. So parameterization is related to the test data. We are going to see how to set up test data. Once the test data is set up, then we are going to see other types of CSV dataset config element. So CSV dataset config element comes with the core JMeter, but we have additional features which the core CSV dataset config will not be able to provide. So we are going to see the random CSV dataset config and extended CSV dataset config. So we'll get to know what are they, what is the functionality of those elements. Clear? We are going to cover them in details. What are they? Then comes the authorization tokens. Okay, then we have the authorization tokens. What is authorization token? What is the importance of the authorization token? How to handle the authorization tokens in JMeter? Okay, very important. In interviews you'll get the questions on authorization and authentication, security mechanism used to uniquely identify the user. So you have to handle that in JMeter. We will not have physical users running through JMeter, right? We will have virtual users. So how to handle the authorization token? Clear all of you? Any queries, anyone till
Yeah,
point number
I have one
54?
question. Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so are we testing this on any specific site or like, or you will providing the like site to host on your local machine?
We have sample applications for developing the test scripts.
Yeah.
So we'll be
So it is on Google. It is present on Google, or we need to download it.
so we'll do it with multiple applications. Some are present on Google, and for some I can also provide the software to do the installation on your local machine, but most of them will be available on Google.
Okay.
Any other
I have a
queries,
quick
anyone?
question.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. So adding to that, what he asked. So do we have any load balancer or something like that, like where we'll monitor stuff, like the data and all, traffic and all?
So that part we will see in Dynatrace, but specific to your question regarding the load balancer, that we are not going to see, because that you will be able to see in your real enterprise application. Okay, so we are going to host an application on the server, and that we will monitor with the help of Dynatrace. So we are going to see the web server, application server, and database server. Does that answer your question?
So we are
Yeah.
not discussing on load balancing stuff, right?
No, we are not focusing on the load balancing stuff here, because this is about JMeter and its integration with Dynatrace and how you can monitor the applications with Dynatrace.
Okay, load balancing comes into a different subject. That's what you're trying to say.
I'm not saying load balancing comes into a different subject. My point is, as part of this training, our focus is to learn JMeter, how to use JMeter, how to use JMeter for performance testing, how to do the test script development with JMeter, how to do the test execution with JMeter, how to do the test reporting with JMeter, and how JMeter can be integrated with other tools so that we can make the most out of it.
Okay, okay, got you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other queries, anyone?
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, is this the end of the session?
No, no, we have more topics.
Okay. Thank
Yeah, I'm asking till point 24 if there are any queries. So
you.
we have gone through performance testing introduction, JMeter introduction, and the JMeter test script development, or how to do the test script development in JMeter. So by the end of point 24, you will be able to do the test script development. You will be able to do the enhancement in the test scripts. Your test script will be robust to handle the concurrent users, to handle the dynamic values, to handle the test data, as well as you will be able to handle the authorization. Then, then we
I
have, yeah.
I have one question as a part of this, are we going to take one like practical applications and go through end to end using the JMeter like scripting
Yes,
part?
yes, yes, yes. So this one, no, end-to-end scenario recording. So we are going to take a real application. This is not going to be theory. Everything is going to be demoed. Everything is going to be practical sessions with demo. So we'll actually be doing the test script development through JMeter on a real application.
Okay. And like which scripting we would be using as a part of this?
We will be using Web HTTP HTML protocol. We will also be using Web Services protocol.
The scripting language.
Okay, for JMeter, so JMeter is a tool. Okay, for development of the test scripts, you do not need any knowledge on any scripting language. But we have also another topic, that is the Groovy scripting. To handle complex scenarios in JMeter, we sometimes need to write custom code. Okay, but JMeter as a tool, it has the UI, okay, the user interface, using which you will be able to develop the scripts. We are not going to do scripting in real sense, like writing code and all.
But as I understand, there is a kind of a bench shell or something is used, right?
Yeah, there is,
Scripting
yes, that is
for.
what I'm saying. For the complex scenarios, we are going to see Groovy scripting. So there are different scripting languages which JMeter supports, like Bin Shell, Groovy, Java, JavaScript. Okay, we are going to see Groovy scripting as part of this training, because Groovy scripting has the best performance among all the scripting languages when used in JMeter. I'll come to that. So that topic is below.
Sure.
Yeah, that is an advanced topic. So the as a training plan name is JMeter Beginner to Master. So we'll take the baby steps to become a beginner first. From the beginner, we'll become a master in JMeter.
Sure.
So till now we are only covering the beginner topics. Any other queries on test script development for JMeter? Thank you. So now, once your test scripts are developed, what are you going to do? You're going to do the test execution, right? So we are going to see JMeter test execution. So JMeter has a GUI, right? But is execution preferred to do in the GUI mode, or is there any other mode in JMeter? So we have a non-GUI mode also. So we are going to see how to do the test execution in non-GUI mode. Then JMeter's Java heap size setting. I'll not go more details into it now. Now just want to tell that why the Java heap size setting will be required for JMeter. That we are going to see how to do that setting, that we are going to see, and how much you can set, that also we are going to see. Then in the non-GUI mode we have the test summarizer. So we'll understand what is a JMeter test summarizer, what are the different attributes of the test summarizer, and how to decrease the summarizer time. Clear all of you? That we are going to see, decreasing the summarizer time. Then once your so we are going to see the test execution, right? So whenever your test execution is in progress, let's say you want to stop the test, you want to stop the execution. So we'll see how to stop the test in non-GUI mode. Whenever a test execution is in progress, how you want to stop the test execution in the non-GUI mode. So then we are going to see how to do the test execution in GUI mode. Okay, and is it really recommended to do the test execution in GUI mode? What is the difference of test execution in GUI mode and non-GUI mode? Those all things we are going to see. Then JMeter has a feature to generate a test report, that is normally known as the HTML test report. In JMeter we are going to see how to generate the HTML test report in GUI mode. Also, we'll see how to generate the HTML test report in non-GUI mode. Then we have a file, very important file, that is the results file, which is known as the JTL file. So what is the importance of JTL file? We are going to see. Then we have, like as I told you, that we will be generating the HTML report. So we need to understand, right? It's not sufficient that the report is only generated. We need to understand what is that report about, what does it contain, what information does it provide, how to analyze that JMeter HTML report, what are the key areas which we need to look in the report, right? What are the key areas which we need to look in the report, and the timings, whatever will be displayed in the report by default, in what units it will be. Okay, and we'll also see how to change that unit to seconds in the HTML report. Clear all of you? So we are going to understand the JMeter HTML report in detail. Then we have one more important concept known as JMeter functions. So what is a JMeter function? Why it is required? What capability does it provide to JMeter? So we are going to see the different functions available with JMeter. So earlier when JMeter functions were not available, custom coding was required, but with the help of JMeter functions, you can, generate random numbers. You can send the current time stamp in your request to the server. So many useful JMeter functions are present, which will be key for doing the test script development and execution in JMeter. One of the important function is
Hello?
the, yeah,
Yeah, Chandra. That means these are predefined functions, right?
These are predefined functions in JMeter,
Okay.
which are already
Okay.
available in JMeter.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Then one of those important functions. So in this JMeter functions, there are so many functions available. We are going to see 4 or 5 functions and their usage, and then we are going to see the usage of the P function, the parameter function in details. Why this is an important function, we are going to see that, and why to use this function. Then the non-GUI mode will be executed in the command line interface mode. So how to send the different parameter values from the non-GUI mode, that we are going to see. So how can we pass arguments from the command line interface while doing execution in non-GUI mode. Then we are going to see what is the scope of JMeter elements, what is the scope of JMeter variables. So we have JMeter variables also. Inside JMeter will have JMeter variables. So what will be the scope of the JMeter variables? What will be the scope of different JMeter elements?